Hello, software lovers. Today we continue with the new Appium Hubs initiative, interviews with software communities leaders, software events organizers, software development experts, and influencers. And today we're extremely happy to welcome Carlos Ble, founder of Lean Mind, software craftsmanship expert, writer, public speaker, and I don't want to actually take his words and introduce him by me. I think it is much better if Carlos can talk about him by himself, but we're extremely proud to have this opportunity and interview Carlos. Thank you for making it today, Carlos, and please, we can't wait to hear more about you, about your very interesting journey. That you live, your background. Tell us more about your latest book, about your new podcast, about all those courses that are coming out soon, about this event that you're organizing in Tenerife. We would like to know everything about all your initiatives, please.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me in. It's a pleasure. It's my honor. I respect the work that you are doing at Appium Hub. I really like the conference, the Global Architecture Summit conference. So it's a
Thank you.
pleasure to be here. Thank you. So yeah, I've been taking part in the Agile and craftsmanship communities since 2008 or 9, embracing XP and training developers on XP and in many places. And recently, well, back in 2010, I published what I believe is the first book on TDD in Spanish, and it was very well appreciated by the community. And last year, I published a new book, also in Spanish. This one here called Código Sostenible, which means something like sustainable code. It's a little bit similar to Clean Code, also with the information from many books like Implementation Patterns or the books by Sandy Metz, and all sugarcoat with my own ideas and experiences. And it's the book is also been very successful in the market, and we're happy with it. And also, this is a manual that we use in our company to train any new lean minder coming to the company. And we are very enthusiastic about that. Recently, there is a new online course related to the book and also related to TDD, which is testingsostenible.com. It's in Spanish. We are considering a future version in English. And there are going to be training courses open to the public in person in Barcelona very soon, Madrid, and also in San Francisco and Chicago. I am very excited to be speaking in those places because I also will be speaking at the Agile Testing Days in Chicago in May this year.
Oh, wow.
So the year is already very promising, a lot of work and very interesting events. And one of the events this year is happening also in May, beginning of May, in Tenerife. It is Socrates, the Canarian chapter of the Socrates Conference, which is an conference. It's started in Germany, I believe in 2010 or so, in Soltau, Germany. I went to the event in the UK many years ago, and I really liked it. I went twice, and then I went to Germany. And at some point, the community, the friends in Germany and the UK were proposing that we may have the event running in the Canary Islands. And we've been running the event like 6 or 7 times, sometimes in Gran Canaria, sometimes in Tenerife. And this year is going to happen in Tenerife again. I think it's 10. And then the name of the website is socracan.com, which is Socrates, the Canary Islands. There are still some spots available for people who want to join us. And the spirit is the same as any other Socrates conference. It's smaller than the one in Germany. So it's more like familiar atmosphere. We expect to have 80 people or perhaps up to 100 people this year. and it's all very inclusive, very immersive in a hotel for 4 days together, coding, sharing ideas, discussions. Um, this is an event that I really like because of the participation spirit. There's no lineup of speakers. It's more, all people are equal, and it's about sharing and learning. So it's a very good event.
Yeah, I remember our team members went to this event in Tenerife, and they really enjoyed it because it's really hands-on. It's really participative, right? That's everyone can actually share ideas and contribute to the event. Right now, also, as I told you before, we have several team members actually living in Tenerife. So I will tell them not to go back to Barcelona in April, but to be there till May, so they can also go to that conference and enjoy it.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
to get the
definitely.
tickets soon, because they are flying. They will be sold out very soon, I believe.
Okay, we will.
But
I will
it's not
schedule that.
commercial. I mean, the organization doesn't make any money with the organization of the event, but it is just it is small. So spots will be sold out soon, and there's nothing we can do about it because the hotel has a limited capacity.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. And regarding GSAS that you mentioned, actually, it's happening this year as well, again in Barcelona in October. If I'm not mistaken, 9th, 10th, and 11th. So we just opened call for papers, and we would be really delighted to have you in this edition as well. So if you still have those days available, please let us know. We would be very happy to have you with us this
Nice.
year as well.
Thank you. You know, I feel a little bit of the imposter syndrome these days when it comes to software architecture and some other topics, because although I'm coding every week or mob programming with people or consulting, looking at code, I'm more managing the company and leading the company more than coding. I'm more of a manager or CEO more than a coder.
Mhm.
And you cannot know more than everybody in every subject. So I'm
Mhm.
relying a lot on my colleagues and doing things in teams. So perhaps we can think of a combo, like one or two colleagues of mine together, and we can do something hands-on oriented, perhaps, which I'm
Workshop.
recently. Yeah, workshop is something I'm enjoying more than a master class.
Hmm. Yeah, actually, the
But yeah,
third
thank you
day
for the
would be,
invitation.
yeah, would be like 100% hands-on. So yeah, if you feel like workshop is something that you like more, yeah, definitely. We still have some slots available for workshops, so please let me know. Let's talk about it
Nice,
later.
nice. It would be nice to promote this idea of the sustainable code or sustainable coding.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Okay, and coming back to your journey, right? Coming back to all those initiatives that you take part in. I have heard a lot about your latest podcast. Could you tell us more about it? How actually it appeared? What was the main idea behind it? And yeah, what kind of topics you would like to cover this year?
Mm. Yeah, I was thinking to do the podcast in English for a while, but my English is limited and it doesn't sound very sweet for a native speaker. Um, I find myself limited when I'm talking in English. So I'm right now doing the podcast in Spanish, but I'm thinking that maybe in the future I might interview native English speakers or people from non-Spanish speaking people, and then do some kind of translation on the fly or something. But it's all about the soft skills related to the programming world. Although there are some episodes on pair programming and refactoring, but it has to do more with the soft skill side, which is very important and sometimes is forgotten. And it has to do with my experience. So I tell stories about my 20 years in the industry. So some of them are monologues when I plan for pretty much like a talk that I would do or deliver in a congress. I do it in my podcast. So every time I have a bunch of ideas, I create a script kind of or a draft and then record a podcast on a particular topic. Like the one coming out is about my career plan. So what's my career plan for the future? And some others are interviews. I try to interview interesting people, and I also try to visualize the work of the women in tech. So, and the way I try to do it is by interviewing interesting professionals, um, because there are very, very talented and interesting people doing work out there. So I try to bring them and basically copying all the podcasts that I like the one with Scott Hanselman, Hansel Minutes. That's one podcast that I like. Or Akimbo by Seth Godin. And when I do a monologue, I try to mimic or copy the Seth style, which is very difficult because he's a incredible, talented human being. Although he looks like an alien in terms of the intelligence and the wise he is. But yeah, I'm just having fun with the podcast. It started 2 years ago, and I try to publish once a month because ideally, if you want to get traction with a podcast, if you want the listeners to be engaged, you have to deliver at least once a week. But I knew that wasn't going to be sustainable for me with all the many other things that I'm doing and also writing. I plan to write 2 more books
Oh, wow.
very soon on also technical subjects. So the only way I could make it sustainable is to find a reasonable commitment. So releasing once a month is something I can do.
Okay. Sounds interesting. And regarding other events, apart from the one in Tenerife, or also you said that this year you will travel a lot to the US, to Madrid, Barcelona. Could you share with us what are those events that you would like to attend this year, or the ones that are on your to-do list, let's say?
Yeah. So well, I've got accepted at the Comic Conf in Madrid. I think it's in when is it, in May, in April? I'm happening soon. Then I've been invited to the Dev BCN conference in Barcelona in July. And what else?
We will be there
Then
as well, so we will see each other there.
excellent. And then I will try to be at the Agile Open Space conference in Spain, or the other one, the CAS, the Conference Agile Spain, which is an event that is always enriching and where I get to see many friends. There are some more, but one that is going to be very, very nice is the Festival of Consciousness happening in Barcelona in July. This is a very special event, not a tech event, where companies or enterprises with the purpose and aiming to have a positive impact in the society gather together with a lot of other professionals to collaborate and to explore how can we be more beneficial for society. So they are expecting to have like 5,000 people or something this year from many places in the world. So there will be tracks in English for sure, other tracks in Spanish, and perhaps other languages as well. And if you are interested in coming, look for the Festival of Consciousness Barcelona. and we will see each other in there because it is a very nice event for team building. So I think 7 or 4 or 8 of our company will be there team building.
Okay, thank you for sharing. And regarding books, you said that you have already published 2 books and you're about to write 2 books more. So where do you get this inspiration from? Other books that you have read or from projects that you work on? If you could also share some books that really you found useful and that made you actually rethink some things, and the ones that you would definitely recommend to your peers.
Yeah, there are many books. Last year I read the DDD Made Functional by Scott Blashin, and using F Sharp, and that's a very good book. Honestly, this is something I recommend from the ones I've read recently. The classics, they are always good. It is always good to read Martin Fowler, Ken Beck, Sandy Metz. Those books are really good. The Pragmatic Programmer, I have with me the 20th edition of the book. This is a timeless time classic. This very great book.
New
So there
cover.
are
I
many.
haven't seen this new cover actually. Nice.
Do you have it? Oh, you haven't seen the new cover.
Yeah, like the hard book. No, we have it like the electronic version, but I haven't seen the new hardcover.
Yeah,
Looks.
I bought it because it was a it is a special edition. 20 years of this um, knowledge in here, which is it's been very impactful for the whole industry to read a book. So I wanted to have a copy. Um, so when I started writing a book, I first I wanted to translate Kent Beck on his book on TDD, and I sent him an email. He replied very kindly, but the publisher wanted to was asking for a lot of money for the rights to translate, and there was no way I could afford it. So I decided to publish my own thing. And that was a motivation. I wanted to bring that knowledge into Spanish, and it wasn't possible. So I tried to do my best. And then in 2019, I republished the book with the same title, Diseño Ágil with TDD, but it's a completely new book because I wanted to kind of shadow the first one to make it to erase the first one because it was very outdated and wrong in many sense, and I wanted to have the new one. And this year we are going to publish soon the yet renewed version of the book, and printed also, printed version, with Savily, which is another company that I'm involved in. Savily is a publisher, and we are talking to many authors speaking Spanish so that they will bring. We are encouraging people to write books and create training courses online in Spanish because we know the demand is very high in Latin America, also in Spain. But Latin America, there are a lot of population there, and they are thirsty for knowledge that they can consume in Spanish. So the opportunity and the need is very high. And although reading in English is always recommended, the truth is that many people, for many people, there's a very big gap. And if you provide them with a book in Spanish, it's gonna ease the career path to the knowledge. So that's what we are doing with Savily, the other project. And the inspiration now for the books that I'm writing is that I get to see the same mistakes again and again and again because I'm working with the people now often younger than me. When I find the people making the same mistakes again and again, I feel the need to give them tools. So my next book is going to be on how to solve complex problems in software. And the other one is in refactoring because I've been following Joshua Kadevsky for a long time and practicing this idea of the parallel change and the narrow change, which is very, very useful. And not so many people know how to do it and how to leverage the power of IntelliJ, for example, where you can have the IDE doing loads of changes for you in a way that is safe. And so I plan to write a book on kind of advanced refactoring techniques using IntelliJ.
Okay, thanks for sharing. We will stay updated. Where should we subscribe? Do you have like a newsletter to be the first ones in receiving this news?
Yeah, I think if you go to my website, which I need to translate into English because there was a new version came out 1 month ago, and it's currently most of it is in Spanish. But there is a new newsletter in there. There is also a Telegram channel in there where you can subscribe for news. And then also, if you go to leanmind.es, there is a newsletter where we publish all the training courses that are coming soon, as well as conferences, events, and so on. So the two newsletters will be one in carlosble.com and the other one in leanmind.es.
Okay, great. And also, like as you're really into this, into writing, into following new trends, no, into this pragmatism and highlighting what has worked, what hasn't, right? So what we saw that for some people actually like reading the whole book, let's say, it's a challenge. So like, or the split reading book like by chapters, and actually we saw here in Barcelona that there are several initiatives with book clubs that per month, let's say, they just dedicate 1 month for one chapter, and like this, like in 1 year, let's say, they finish one book and really like analyze everything that is written, like really in details. And some people are just more into like short articles. So also like for those people who find challenging like reading books, but would like still to learn and to grow professionally, maybe you could share with us those blogs that you find interesting, where on a regular basis people could actually find very valuable information, or maybe experts that share very interesting thoughts on Twitter or on any other platform. That information would be very well appreciated.
There are many good resources out there. I really like the Davey Farley's channel on YouTube.
Yeah.
The book, the videos are really good, and I really like the way David communicates. It's very eloquent, and so that's absolutely recommended. But there are many things that you can follow. In Spanish, I recommend Codely.tv. Many people know this resource. But then MiduDev is also releasing a lot of very good material, especially for beginners. And the same for Bryce Moure. Is a guy, very talented guy, delivering terrific content out there. Autentia is a company with a lot of free books and guides and videos online. And you should definitely follow Autentia, in my opinion. At LeanMind, in our blog, we are publishing at least once a week some technical content as well. I know that also Kent Beck is publishing now a newsletter, I believe, that you can subscribe, and a lot of people are receiving value from it. What else I consume? I listen to podcasts, so the JavaScript Jabber used to be one of the podcasts where I learned a lot about JavaScript ecosystem. Scott Hanselman is always delivering good stuff. There is this podcast called Maintainable Software, which is also very nice. And what else I do listen on software? Um, don't remember right now, but there is loads of material in English, especially. You can get anything.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. It is very interesting to know who you follow, and I'm sure a lot of people will highlight some, some sources of information.
Yeah, if you can check out Sandy Metz books and talks, and also JB Reinsberger. That's a friend of mine that is very smart and very diligent, and the way he communicates is also to the point, very clear.
Mhm.
So if you can follow JB, that's also nice.
Okay, great. Thank you. And analyzing a little bit 2022. So how did you find that year? Maybe you could highlight like top 3 things that you learned over that past year, or something that you would like to share.
Mhm. Before that, I also should mention Codurance. They are releasing 2 podcasts. One of them is a weekly podcast with Sandro, Mash, and Jose, and it's very good. And their blog and newsletter is also very interesting. So Codurance is a company that I would keep an eye on. And now for 2022, I learned a lot of stuff. I learned some of functional programming. I got my hands dirty on Python again, which I didn't do any Python in the last bunch of years, and last year I was doing Python. Some TypeScript learning as well, which is a very fascinating language. But I think that the more profound learnings came out of the business side, so customer relationship, leadership, management of the company. I learned a lot in those regards. So more the non-technical side of things. It was a year of important lessons learned and growth.
Okay. And as I understood in Lean Minds, you have different kind of projects, right? Like from different industries. So, did you identify any kind of pattern? What are those problems that your clients have in common, and that's why they come to you? Or maybe you could highlight like any specific topic that you identified that would have this traction and that you would like to deep dive and discover and focus on this year.
Yeah, the way we accompany teams that own some kind of digital product. So they are developing their product, and we work with them for a bunch of months, coding together. So it's not just a training, but it's let's do it together and learn together. And the of the root cause of many of the problems are always the same, and they had to do with or they have to do with the education of developers in terms of the maintainability of the code and testing and those things. So even though this is very old stuff, writing tests and caring about the code, writing in such a way that the other people in the future could be able to read it and change it. We are not trained in the industry to. We don't have the consciousness and the sensibility towards the code in thinking of the code as a communication mechanism for people coming in the future. In many cases, people have a sense of urgency, and that is not even real in many cases. So I'd say where we bring more value is in the psychological or teamwork side of things. Making people feel guided and not alone, and that help them learn. because when the code is not that important when the team is performing well. When you have a high performance team, they can change the code base quickly, and so the competitive advantage is not the code, is a team. And many teams have this problem of lack of skills, and coming from a perspective of fake urgency and scarcity, that in many cases is not real. So we are more and more specializing on helping people bridge the gap from the mad coding crazy style and to let's do engineering and let's plan for things and do things in a way that are sustainable over time.
Mm.
Mm.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for sharing this. And thinking about this upcoming year, right? So, is there anything you would like to improve, or you would like to learn, or you would like to discover, as Carlos and as LeanMind?
Sure, many things. One is to keep working on emotional intelligence and leadership. I've been heavily digging into leadership for the last 4 years or so, and it's yielding very good results. But the field is huge, and the big elephant in the room is machine learning. So we know we are arriving late to the party, to the machine learning party, and we want to get in the train as soon as possible. So that's why there is a new project coming in, and from a local company here in Tenerife. Very good project, already working with machine learning, and we are gonna probably partner with them to do real stuff, because training courses and university training, that's very valuable and good, but we like to get our hands dirty too. So one part has to be theoretical, but the other part has to be practical. And we definitely want to be learning a lot, so that in the upcoming years we will be able to be a machine learning consultancy as well. Because we know that many things that we know about sustainability can be applied in machine learning, especially when you see code written by non-coders like data scientists and things like that. It's very messy code that is really hard to maintain. So the same problems are faced, like managing the infrastructure, teamwork. So many of the things we can transfer our knowledge into that field, but we definitely need to get a deep knowledge on machine learning, and this is something we are going to do this year for sure.
Okay. Yeah, sounds really reasonable. So we will definitely follow you, because all your journey seems to be very exciting for this upcoming year. A lot of things that you are into. Really, like, big applause to everything you do. Never stop. You keep traveling, keep writing, keep speaking, keep improving, keep making things better. So yeah, thank you very much for taking part in this interview. I'm sure our followers will find it very useful. And next time when you're in Barcelona and you have free time, let us know. We would be delighted to welcome you to our office. Actually, we moved. Right now we are in Paseo de Gracia, so right in the center, and we have beer in the office. So
nice.
You're always
welcome.
welcome.
Thank you very much. It's been great to be here. Thank you very much for the invite. I'm flattered to be here. So, and you are always so kind with me. Thank you.
Thank you.